Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Chimera Score studio. Welcome to the show. A few things before we get started. Number one, if you haven't seen my episode on the deck tech for Jared Carthalion yet, that was the previous episode to this one, the most recent episode. Make sure you check that one out first because, well, this episode's not going to make all that much sense if you haven't seen that one. This is the Break the Bank version of that deck. This is the upgraded version of that deck. So yeah, check that one out first. Also, yeah, you might notice that this Break the Bank is different than probably any of the other Break the Banks I've ever done because, like that last episode, I'm taking a different approach to these. It seems like you've liked kind of more of the uncut episodes lately where I basically just kind of turn the camera on and just start talking. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this approach. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking to improve things around here. So yeah, with all that said, let's jump into the episode. First up, this episode comes to you courtesy of Aurelia, who's been supporting this channel as a Golden Pig tier patron, and I truly couldn't do this without the support from amazing patrons like Aurelia. So again, Aurelia, thank you so much. And like I said on that episode, this episode is for Sky. Aurelia chose Jared Carthalion with a theme of 5-color Cascade with some cool cards from Alara, which is Sky's favorite plane. So again, Aurelia, again, Sky, I really hope that you enjoy this episode. I hope you enjoyed the deck. I hope you enjoy the upgrades. So yeah, let's jump into it. Really quick, a reminder for Jared Carthalion, just what, it is, what it does. A 5-color commander, a legendary planeswalker that starts off at 5 loyalty. +1, create a 3/3 Kavu creature token with trample that's all colors. -3, choose up to 2 target creatures. For each of them, put a number of +1 counters on it equal to the number of colors it is. -6, return target multicolor card from your graveyard to your hand. That card was all colors, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. So yeah, a lot of, good effects here. You can basically make a Kavu army. And of course, since those Kavu are all 5 colors, you can utilize them and make them absolutely massive with that -3. And of course, with a lot of the cards in this deck, a lot of these Cascade cards that we're going to be utilizing, a lot of the cards from, Alara, it's a very multicolor, focused set. So yeah, we can get cards back with your Carthalion, including one, of course, that is, 5 color as well. But yeah, with this, Break the Bank, I'm going to up that budget all the way up to $100. So we're going to take that budget, I believe was around $25, add an extra 75 in there. So we're going to be adding some really exciting cards into this. And I'm going to talk about, what cards we're adding in, what cards we're taking out. And yeah, let's jump into it. So first up, when you're talking about a Cascade deck, yeah, one of the first upgrades that definitely came to my mind was Apex Devastator, a 10/10 Chimera Hydra for 8 green. It doesn't really have any text on it except for Cascade, 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 Cascade. So yeah, you get to Cascade 4 times with this 10-mana creature. That's a massive threat on its own. So yeah, you can get a ton of value out of this, an absurd amount of value. Again, there's a lot of cards in this deck that have Cascade, so you essentially just start these Cascade chains off, and you can get a lot of value out of just one of them. And then as soon as one of those chains is done, you're cascading again with this as well. So yeah, you can do that 4 times. And of course, there are also ways, to get this back. There are also ways, to, bounce it back to your hand potentially, do it again. This can provide an absurd amount of value. It is a great card for Cascade decks. And yeah, it can just do a lot of crazy things. So definitely a great upgrade for this build. Speaking of a great upgrade for this build, Maelstrom Wanderer is another great one. A 7/5 elemental that says creatures you control have haste. So that can be huge and just allowing us to, again, when we fill the board with, our cascading, getting a lot of creatures into play, maybe we've got a lot of Kabu in play, we can, just immediately attack with them, be very aggressive with that. And also, very importantly, this one cascades twice as well. So yeah, not as many, as Apex Devastator, but still cascade, cascade. Again, starting off those cascade chains, again, at 8 mana, that can be huge, lead us to some really, really big and powerful turns. Next up, another card from, the Alara, essentially, that can be a great upgrade for this deck. Violent Outburst, an instant for 1 red and green. Cascade, creature control +1/+0 until end of turn. This can just be a great effect again. We're cascading into more and more creatures, getting more and more things in play, doing some really powerful things. We can give them a nice pump, and also, again, continue what we're doing in cascading. And of course, like I mentioned in that episode, the previous episode, we also have, some 0 mana cards as well that can have Betrayal, Guy as well, some big cards that we can hit, that give us a lot of value, essentially. So yeah, having a lower to the ground cascade card, having more of those in the deck can help us hit those more often. And yeah, this can really do some very powerful things. Ardent Plea, another great one that is low to the ground. Exalted, so it's an enchantment that can just pump our, our creature attacking if we only have 1 creature attacking. And then also, again, a low to the ground cascade spell that can provide us a lot of value. Another great card from Alara. to add in to the deck. Moving on, Yidris Maelstrom Wielder, a 5/4 trampling ogre wizard for blue, black, red, green. When it deals counter to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. This can be just absolutely absurd. All we needed to do is, just get through on an opponent once with this. Again, this has trample. And also, again, our commander can pump this quite a bit by getting 4 counters on it, because it is 4 colors. So this can become, a 9/8? So it can be a huge threat that we can easily get damage through on at least one opponent. When we do so, the amount of value this can provide can be absurd. Essentially, every single one of our spells that we're casting from our hand is going to get Cascade, including ones that already have Cascade. That's just an additional layer of Cascade, essentially. So they get to Cascade twice, kind of like, Maelstrom Wielder, or not Maelstrom Wielder, Maelstrom Wanderer. Not quite, the Apex, Devastator, amount, but still, this makes Apex Devastator, have 5 essentially Cascades. So yeah, and of course there are other ways to add even more Cascade, but yeah, just basically giving additional ways to get even more Cascade can help us do some even more absurd things with this deck. Abandon the Despoiler, 5/5, Astartes Warrior with Trample. That costs 2, blue, black, red. It has, during your turn, spells you cast from your hand with mana value X plus half Cascade, where X the total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn. Yeah, there are plenty of ways for us to make our opponents lose a lot of life. And when that happens, essentially, we can again, give every single one of our cards in our hand, kind of like with Maelstrom Wielder, we can give them all Cascade. So, yeah, we can do some pretty gross things by, adding in more and more Cascade effects, by adding in more and more ways to get even more value. Yeah, this is a great addition from Warhammer. Speaking of another great addition, another commander that is actually great in the 99 of this deck is Prosper Tomebound, a 1/4 death touch that says, beginning of your end step, exile a top card of your library until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. So some great impulse draw there for us, great consistent impulse draw, but most importantly, Pact Boon, whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. This is just gross and disgusting with Cascade, because this is basically, hey, whenever you're, cascading into something, you get a treasure from, just casting that spell from exile. And of course, a lot of our spells have Cascade, so we cascade into another Cascade card, which cascades into another Cascade card, and we're getting treasure after treasure after treasure, which of course helps us cast other cards from our hand too. So, and again, if we have, those other cascading effects too, like the ones we just talked about, yeah, we can really have some absurd turns thanks to this. Speaking of absurd, Ancestral Vision is another great 0 mana card to add into this deck. I already mentioned, like Inevitable Betrayal. But yeah, basically, target player draws 3 cards just for free, essentially. If we cascade into this, because, normally you'd have to spend 4 for a blue, but if we hit off the top of our library, of course, this has basically a mana value of 0 when we hit off the top with something like Cascade, so we can just basically, cascade into it, draw 3 extra cards, essentially for free. A great card to add into this deck. Wheel of Fate is another 0 mana card that can be very impactful. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. A great wheel effect. Again, we can just essentially refuel. We can, cast spell after spell after spell, doing some crazy things. And then, we cascade into this. We make everyone discard their hands. Whatever plans our opponents had, they don't have those plans anymore. Now they have to reset, change to something else. We can refill our hand, do something crazy like this. Again, normally you have to spend 4 for 1 in the red. But when you're cascading into something like this, you get that effect, again, essentially for free without having to wait. When it comes to lands that we're going to be adding into the deck with the upgraded budget, the World Tree is a great one. Enters battlefield tapped, taps for a green. As long as you control 6 or more lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Yeah, we've got plenty of ways to ramp in this deck, plenty of ways to get a ton of lands into play. It's going to take us no time at all to get to 6 or more lands. So essentially this makes all of our lands tap for any mana, which is of course, essentially very, very impactful, especially in a 5-color deck like this one. We could also sacrifice to go get God cards. That's not really what this is about. This is more about, again, fixing our mana with just a land. Next up, Plaza of Heroes is another great card in this deck. It taps for a colorless. We can tap to add 1 mana of any color. We can only spend it to cast a legendary spell. So yeah, this can help with a lot of legendary spells in this deck, including our commander. Or we can tap to add 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents we control. Our commander is all 5 colors, so obviously then this land can just tap for 1 mana of any color, essentially. We can also pay 3 to tap and exile, and target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible line of turn. That can be helpful in certain circumstances, again, with something like, Yidris or, Maelstrom Wanderer. So yeah, this can definitely help out. Or Maelstrom Wielder, too. Yeah, all the Maelstroms. When it comes to 5-color lands, though, as well, that can help us out. Crystal Quarry and Cascading Cataracts can really help, too. Crystal Quarry can tap for colorless mana. We're going to pay 5 into it and tap for Wooburg. Cascading Cataracts, very similar. Indestructible, tap for colorless, pay 5 into it, tap, add 5 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. Both can be very impactful, again, especially in a 5-color deck like this one. It's basically helping us fix our mana in just a land slot, essentially, that can help. Now, when we're adding cards in, of course, we've got to take some out. And like I like to say, when it comes to adding cards in and taking them out, just because we're taking a card out does not mean it is a bad card. It means that, well, we're adding in an upgraded card for the deck. And yeah, we need to make a spot for it. So yeah, those cards just might be more efficient. They might be more effective in the deck. So the cards we're taking out aren't bad, but they are Qasali Pride Mage, Forceful Denial, Bloodbane Marauder, Cathari Remnant, Sloppity, Bile Piper, Big Score, Forest, Island, Plains, Swamp, and Mountain. So yeah, those are the cards we're going to be taking out. And yeah, now that we've talked about all the cards we're adding in, now we've talked about all the cards that we're going to be adding out, let's talk about the price. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, on these Break the Banks, we are upping the budget all the way up to $100. Okay, well, technically, the estimated cost is $99.74, but I got it very close. So yeah, again, like I mentioned, we took that budget from 25 and put it all the way up to 100. And actually, with that estimated cost of $99.74, that's actually including basic lands at 10 cents a piece. So if you already have those basics, there's some extra savings for you there. Speaking of potential extra savings, you might be able to save even more by buying this deck on TCG Player and utilizing heavily played and damage cards because, of course, those cards need a home too. That being said, keep in mind that estimated cost does not include the cost of shipping, which might vary depending upon where you live. Now, again, as this episode is coming to a close, again, I'd really like to hear from you. I'd love to hear your comments on, this style of a Break the Bank and this style of a deck tech. If you've seen the deck tech, which I recommended going back and watching that one first. So, yeah, if you like kind of this more, uncut kind of, just turn the camera on, just start talking version. So, yeah, let me know your comments. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. Again, a huge thank you to Aurelia. A huge thank you to Sky. I hope that you both enjoy these episodes. Hope that you both enjoy the deck. And yeah. With that said, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.